Okay, we're going to start off in the book. Today we're going to start off with section 1.1. Section 1.1 is on angles. Remember, there are a couple of special sets of angles we talked about in geometry. The first were complementary angles. Complementary angles added up to, you guessed it, they add up to 90 degrees. The other one we talked about were the supplementary. And they added up to 180 degrees. Okay, when we look at some examples, find the measure of each angle. We have a right angle and we bisected. One of the angles is 2y, the other angle is 4y. How do we find the measure of each of those angles? You'll recall that because we know they add up to 90, we can just add them up to 90 each. So 2y plus 4y equals 90 degrees. Combine our like terms. 6y equals 90 degrees. Divide by 6. We're left with y equals 15. Now, we cannot stop there. Remember that we have to plug it back in. So if 15 is y, 2 times y is 30 degrees. 4 times y is going to be 60 degrees. And we can check. 30 and 60 add up to 90. So our answer is 30 degrees, 60 degrees. Okay, the answer is not 15. Do not stop there. We're going to talk about an angle, and we're going to talk about it in terms of the coordinate plane. So as I draw this out here, remember, 0 degrees is always along the positive x-axis, which means 90 degrees is at the top, 180 degrees is to the left, 270 degrees is at the bottom, and we come back around to 360 degrees on the right. And it keeps going. If we look at an angle set within this coordinate plane, we have our initial side and our terminal side. Now for this angle, if we say hypothetically this was 60 degrees, we can also look at that angle in terms of what happens if we go around the whole coordinate plane more than once. So we start here at 60 degrees, or at the initial side, we go around once, and then we come back to that side. So we've gone all the way around to 360 plus an additional 60 degrees. So that would give us an angle of 420 degrees. 60 degrees and 420 degrees are called coterminal angles. They have the same terminal side. And that is plus or minus 360 degrees. We can also talk about that angle looking at it in the reverse. We can start on the initial side and we can go backwards to that terminal side. In this case, we went backwards 90, 180, 270, and an extra 30. So this is actually an angle of negative 300 degrees. Okay, again, another coterminal angle. So 60, 420, and a negative 300 degrees are all coterminal angles. Next thing we're going to do is talk about the measure of angles. So we're going to look at an angle in degrees, minutes, and seconds. As you'll recall, there are 60 minutes in a degree, and there are 60 seconds in a minute. And we can have angle measures in degrees, minutes, seconds, and we can combine them, we can add them together, we can subtract them. And so we're going to refresh our memory on how to do that. Let's look at some examples. Simplify. For the first one, we're going to start off with an angle of 45 degrees, 10 minutes, 24 seconds, and we're going to add it to 130 degrees, 21 minutes, 10 seconds. When we do this, we start from the right and we add 24 and 10 is 34 seconds. That's less than 60. Our issue is we never put our seconds above 60 or our minutes above 60, because if we do, we can actually move it over and add either an additional minute or an additional degree. So 10 and 21 is 31 minutes, and 45 and 130 is 175 degrees. For our second example, we have 10 degrees, 34 minutes, 51 seconds, and we're going to add to that 21 degrees, 10 minutes, 22 seconds. When we go and add these together, 51 and 22 is 73 seconds. Well, that's going to be an issue for us because we don't want to be above 60. We'll take care of that in a second. 34 and 10 is 44 minutes, and 10 and 21, 31 degrees. Now to fix the seconds issue, we know that for every 60 seconds is equal to 1 minute. So if we add a minute to the minutes column, we have to take 60 seconds off the seconds column. And in doing so, 31 degrees, 45 minutes, 13 seconds. So whatever we add to one column, we have to take off the equal amount in the second column. A couple more examples. Let's look at some subtraction. So if we look at 75 degrees, 54 minutes, 42 seconds, and we're going to subtract 30 degrees, 21 minutes, 34 seconds. Again, we start from the right. 42 minus 34, 8 seconds. 54 minus 21 leaves us with 33 minutes. And 75 minus 30 is 45 degrees. Our last example, another subtraction problem. We start with 90 degrees, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. So we're starting with exactly a 90-degree angle. And we want to subtract from it a 42-degree, 44-minute, 26-second angle. So we want to find its complementary angle. 0 minus 26, we're not going to be able to do. So the first thing we have to do is borrow from the number on the left, just like we would in a regular subtraction problem. So if we take 1 degree off 90 degrees, make it 89 degrees, that will give us 60 seconds. But we still need, or 60 minutes, sorry, but we still need seconds. And so to get to the seconds, we need to borrow from the minutes, 1 minute, so we're going to reduce down to 59 minutes, and that then gives us the 60 seconds we need in the seconds column. So 90 degrees, 0 minutes, 0 seconds is the same as 89 degrees, 59 minutes, and 60 seconds. Because the 60 seconds will give us another minute, and 60 minutes gives us the missing degree. So now to solve 60 minus 26, 34 seconds. 59 minus 44, 15 minutes. And 89 minus 42, 47 degrees. Okay, moving on to converting between decimals and degrees. So to convert to a decimal degree, if we have our example 34 degrees, 17 minutes, 32 seconds, to convert that to a decimal, we need to convert the minutes and the seconds to their decimal equivalents. So remember, for every minute, it takes 60 minutes to get to a degree. So if we're going to take our 34 degrees, we're going to add that to the 17 minutes out of 60 total, that gives us a degree. For the seconds, we're going to take that 32 and put it not over 60, but 60 times 60. So it's actually 3,600, or 3,600 seconds in a degree. Biggest thing when you type this into your calculator, make sure your calculator is grouping the pieces together. That may mean you need to put in some parentheses to make sure that the calculator is doing it correctly. When we add these up, 34 plus 17/60ths plus 32 3600ths, we should get a number that's 34 point something, because these should all create a decimal portion to our answer. But we know that we only have 34 degrees. So it's 34, and when you type it into your calculator, you're going to get 29 as your decimal. If it came out to a decimal that kept on, we are going to round to the hundredths in general. So 2 after the decimal. We can also convert backwards. So converting to degrees, minutes, seconds. We start with 47.392 degrees. To convert that to degrees, minutes, seconds, the first part, the degrees, is easy. The 47 becomes the degree portion. Pretty straightforward. For the other two pieces, we have to start with that decimal. So we're going to start with 0.392, and we're going to multiply it by 60. That'll give us the equivalent in minutes. And when we do that, we get 23.52. Well, that is our minutes, and the 23 comes over to be the 23 minutes. Now we have a decimal again. We take that decimal and we do this one more time. The new decimal is 0.52. Now you're going to want to start here and say, I'm going to multiply by 3,600 because I used 3,600 on the last example. But that's not correct, because we're already in minutes. To go from minutes to seconds is a multiplication of 60 again. So in this case, we use 60 twice. 0.52 times 60, we get 31.2 seconds. And in this case, I'm just going to round it to the nearest whole second. So 31.2 rounds to 31. So the seconds portion of our answer is going to be 31 seconds. Sometimes in the book, you'll see that they don't round it and they'll leave it as 31.2 seconds. That's fine as well. Okay? The last topic we have to go over today is on talking about a coterminal angle given an angle to start with. So, our last one, find one positive and one negative angle that is coterminal with 80 degrees. Okay, and remember, coterminal angles are simply adding or subtracting 360 degrees. So in this case, if I take my 80 degrees and I add 360, I get 8 and 6 is 14, carry the 1, 440 degrees. If I take 80 degrees and I minus 360 degrees, we take away 80 from the 360, we're left with 280, and it's negative. And those are our answers, 440 and a negative 280. Now, if you start with a larger angle, like let's say we started with 380 degrees, and we subtract 360, we're still in the positive. We got 20 degrees left over. You may have to subtract 360 more than once, or you may have to add 360 more than once to get a positive and a negative coterminal angle. Remember, you can add or subtract 360 as many times as you need to get to the angle you're looking for. Okay? That finishes our lesson on section 1.1. Have a good one.